Can.
Okay.
Okay.
What's up, everybody? Chris Green here from the Merch by Amazon world, and I'm excited. This has been a long time coming. We've got the man, Michael Essek. I'm guessing most of you guys
Hello.
have heard of this guy. Michael, what's up, man? What
What's up,
time is it
guys?
where you are?
It's just gone 3 minutes past 5.
Wow, okay.
In the
You're working technically after hours over there, but hey,
Yep.
I'm betting that this audience, especially if they're into the Merch by Amazon world, they're used to working after hours because they just love this business. They love designing and selling, and they mostly love getting those royalty checks, whether in the mail or direct deposit. They're like,
That's
yeah,
it.
I'm going to keep working even though it's after 5. So welcome. It's good to finally talk to you.
Thank you for having me, Chris. Thank you for arranging this. It's great to speak to you finally. I know we've never met face-to-face. We've never even spoken before. So this is a great, exciting opportunity for me. So thank you for setting it up.
No, it's been great. And everybody on this webinar should already have your book. I'm betting a lot of people may not have read the whole thing through. Maybe they just got it in the past couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But if you guys have got the book, you've probably seen some of Michael's stuff, his blog posts, the stuff that he shared in my group and some other Facebook groups. And you're like, yeah, this Michael guy knows what he's talking about. So when he says something, I want to listen. And I tell you, I'm a little jealous of your branding, this little red dude, like instantly recognizable. And
No,
I'm like,
thank
man,
you.
I got to do something like that. I got to.
Yeah, I can draw you one, man. We can do one.
I'll be like
The
a
big
blue dot
glasses
or
and the hat and
Amazon
everything.
one dot or something, right? So
Yeah.
we'll change it up. So this webinar, guys, we're going to talk about selling more shirts. Okay, we're not going to talk about what Merch by Amazon is. You guys should already know that. If you somehow got here, you bought the book just because you're like, hey, Chris Green's a good guy. If he says buy the book, I'm going to buy it. And you haven't read it, and you still don't know what Merch by Amazon is, that's fine. There's tons of information online. Simply go to merch.amazon.com for one. Read the FAQ, the resources page, the policies. Read all that stuff. You're going to be up to date on Merch by Amazon and what it is. So once you understand that, then you're like, wait a minute, this is like a complete gold mine. And yeah, it is. Like what you're thinking is real. That merch is the biggest opportunity that I've ever seen, probably most people have ever seen, to make some good passive income at home. Whether you want to make $1,000 a month or you want to grow it into $1 million business, we're going to talk about, I want to pull a specific number out of the air that is high enough to get your attention and also attainable to where you're excited to learn how to sell more shirts. And that's the 6 figures. Now we're going to use US dollars, okay, just because, that's what I'm used to. We're doing US dollars here, so bear with us, Michael.
Mm-hmm.
$100,000, the fancy 6 figures that everybody wants to make. You can make 6 figures with Merch by Amazon, 6 figures in royalties if you sell one shirt every 38 minutes, right? So like
that's right.
It's a little more than 1 an hour, right? If you do the math, it's 38 shirts per day. 38 shirts per day. Now, this is based on a $19.99 price, which is the most common price for t-shirts on Merch by Amazon, and that gives you a $7.19 royalty. Now, if you change some things about the shirts, you might affect your royalty. So that's what these numbers are based on. You're going to earn $100,000 in royalties by making $7.19 one shirt at a time, and just make it every 38 minutes. And it's you don't have to spend a lot of money. You've already bought Michael's book. A lot of his blog posts are completely free on his website. You read these things, you're not only going to be excited about Merch by Amazon, but you're going to learn how to sell more shirts and get on your way to making that $100,000. So, Mike, I don't want to take up all the time because you're the expert. You're already doing this. You're already making over $100,000 a year with print on demand products.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, what you just said, Chris, is completely true. It's like this time last year. Actually, I'm just looking now at my my kind of record of sales and stuff. So this time last year is when it just started to really kick off for me with merch. And, up until that time, I'd never made more than, I think I'd made $5,000 or something. That was probably my biggest month around a Christmas time. But previous to last year, I'd never made, never made more than 5,000 in a month. And then since this time last year, it's been, it climbed its way up to 10,000 in when was that? Sorry, I'm confusing my dollars and Great British pounds here. So it does get a bit confusing, but yeah, it's been a steady climb up to 10,000 pounds a month, which I guess is about $12,000 or something like that about now. And every month since then, I've seen that, it's been steady. had a bit of a drop off after Christmas, but that's to be expected. But yeah, this is totally doable. I mean, my big thing after Christmas was, are we going to get back up? How long is it going to take to get back up to, to 10,000 to 12,000 a month? And it looks like we should do that this month, which is great. So I think it's, that the merch is so new, it's so fresh. There's so many variables. There's a lot of things changing. It's moving very fast. But I would say to people out there, you're in at the ground level. You really are in at the floor. And this thing is only going to go bigger. And you could almost, we think of merch now, it's just like T-shirts. It's kind of like one thing. And people are very kind of focused around a few areas like current events and niches and that kind of thing. But this thing's going to go, blow up. There's going to be hoodies. There's going to be different products. And I think, if you just kind of dedicate yourself to kind of immersing yourself in the T-shirt space and in the kind of skills you need to spot trends and ideas, then there's no reason why, you couldn't be doing very similar numbers to this in a shorter space of time than it took me. So yeah, the opportunities are out there. And for anyone who's like, oh, I don't know, is it possible? I mean, I was that way, this time last year. I actually remember the specific point. I remember walking with my wife down to the shops near our house here. And I was telling her, actually, Chris, I was telling about the webinar that you did with, I can't remember who it was, but it was about this time last year. It might have been Daniel Cordy. Did you do a webinar with him?
I think we did. We did a whole bunch. It's been a lot.
It's been like
really fast. We've done so much content.
Yeah, but I think you were talking with him, and he was saying how he was doing, like 8,000 a month or something. And I remember saying to my wife and thinking, well, he's doing it. Why can't I do it? He's not even an artist, kind of like I am. Why can't I be doing that?
Right.
And I remember thinking that and thinking, wow, 8,000. What would that mean? What could we do with that? And that kind of thing. And yeah, we've been able to do it and more. So it's absolutely possible. I heard someone say that people overestimate what they can do in a week and underestimate what they can do in a year. And I think that's really true. People are like, oh, I put a T-shirt up and it didn't sell, or I've got 10 designs up and I've not made a sale in a week. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It's going to take a little while to get the ball rolling. So if you're expecting results in a week, slow down. But if you can do a year plan and say, where could I be at the end of this year, then I think it's absolutely possible for someone who dedicates themselves to it to be doing 10,000 a month is a reasonable target.
Yeah, I want to give people not just the motivation or put the carrot out there of money. Like, this isn't just about money.
No.
But this is, I mean, it's just the best way that I've ever seen. And I come from the Amazon seller side of things, where you have to buy inventory and sell things and deal with returns and deal with prices lowering and deal with competition. And you don't have any of that stuff with Merch by Amazon. And so as soon as you see it, like the light bulb clicks, you're like, I get it. I get how this works. I see how it's really, I want people to see the system, to be like, okay, I'm creating royalty generating products on Amazon where when they sell, Amazon does the work and I earn a royalty. Okay. Once you get that, you're like, okay, now I need to make stuff that sells. I need to make stuff that people want. I need to make good quality products and designs. And if you do that, that's where you're going to have that success from organic searches. And when you drive traffic, it's going to convert versus, and I've seen it, and I picked up on what you were saying, where people say, I've got 10 shirts up. Why don't they sell? I'm like, I don't know. Just having 10 shirts up doesn't mean anything's going to sell. You can have 10 pieces of crap up, right? I dealt with that with sellers. I've got this many SKUs. So, sorry, nobody wants them, right?
I think it's like the, the old, if you get 100 monkeys in a room on typewriters, eventually they'll produce the works of Shakespeare or something like that. It's kind of like that. Like, if you have infinite amount of time and you have huge volume, you will sell something sooner or later. If you had 1 million designs up, you'll sell something. But for most people, we can't produce 1 million designs, or it's going to take us a long time to get to 1 million designs. So, what I would say is people need to, volume is definitely a factor. It's a big factor. And it's one of the things you can control. You can produce more designs relatively easily, I think, for a lot of us. But at the same time, it's balancing volume with quality of designs as well. So, I agree. It's not just, it is a numbers game, but it's not just a numbers game. And
You know,
especially as you
quality
get
check.
smarter, yeah, you figure out ways where you can leverage your knowledge and your skills and your designs to make more money for the same amount of designs or the same amount of time. There's it's that kind of game.
Well, let's help people think like get on the right track to making good designs, right?
Hmm.
So you talked about spotting trends.
Yeah.
You talked about people who pay attention to cultural, political events. So you can kind of capitalize on people that are maybe watching the news. It's all over the radio, and all
Hmm.
of a sudden, okay, they want to buy something that has that on it. I see a lot of people say, "How can you help me with this stuff?" Like,
Hmm.
you don't need my help. Like, it's on the internet, right? Like,
Yeah.
if same story comes up on your Facebook feed 12 times, there's probably a lot of people talking about it, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
to me, it's so easy that I think people look for a reason why it's not easy. And I've done this from the seller side where I help
Mm.
people go and source products, and all they need to do is for me to stand there next to them and be like, "Yes, you should buy this. It's a really good deal." They just need that confirmation. So it's
Yeah.
almost like I think people need to, should I make this shirt? And for someone with some experience or some success to say, yes, absolutely. And that's it. That flips
Yeah.
the switch and they're off to the races. They just need that confidence because just like sellers from the Amazon world, merch designers, we don't often have like a lot of like in-person community versus like online community where we meet and hang out with other people who do
Yeah.
this because who does this? I mean, I tell everybody that'll listen about Merch by Amazon, and I can't go out and find anybody within a 20-minute drive to hang out with and have lunch and talk about it. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
unfortunate, but it's the reality.
Yeah. No, I think one thing I would say, just you mentioned something there that made me think of this, is it is people want you to tell them what designs they should create, that kind of thing. Um, the one thing I would say just to get off the starting blocks is you will there's the 80/20 rule going on here. So you are not going to produce, not every design you make is going to sell. And you have to get that in your head. And for a lot of people, that's a mind shift change. And of course, it's kind of, I don't like it any more than anyone else. I'm sitting here creating a design. It's taking me maybe an hour to do the drawing, to do the graphics and everything. And then it might not sell. That's frustrating. But if I produce 10, then usually 2 of the 10 are going to sell, and they're going to be repeat sellers or something like that for a period of time. And 8 are not going to sell, or they're going to sell irregularly or whatever. It's not going to be, immediately worth it. So I think that's a big kind of mindset thing for people to get around is not every design you make is going to sell, and it's going to take you a while to get better at this. But eventually you'll get better and eventually you'll be good, if you stick at it. So first thing is don't expect every design to sell, and don't anticipate every design will sell. Be prepared for 2 out of 10 are going to make it, 8 out of 10 are going to do next to nothing. So once you've got that in your head, then you're in the right kind of frame of mind to go out there and produce. And now you're thinking in terms of volume, and you're thinking, I just need to come up with 10 designs, for example. Now, I produce, my design style is not to do what I would call boilerplate type stuff. So, when you see, it's a doctor thing, it's an engineer thing, it's a Sally thing, or, these kind of t-shirt designs that are, you just replace one word and then you duplicate it by 1,000 and it's the same design, that kind of thing. So that's not my game, but I know, people do that and people make good money from that. But what I try and do is an individual unique design every time. And so it's trying to come up with a unique, design. It's going to usually include some artwork, some kind of graphic element. And once you've got like 10 of those, and they are unique and each one is different, usually with a different kind of niche or a different joke or a different target, that's a starting point from where you can work from, because then you've got 10 designs, 2 of them are going to sell, 8 of them might not. Of those 2, now you have a bit more information. Okay, these are the designs that sell. Why did these ones sell? Why did the other ones not sell? Can I create more in this niche? Can I niche down, beyond this niche, and that kind of thing? And once you get the ball rolling on that, and like I said before, it's not going to be, next week. It's not going to be the week after, but after a few, months or something of producing at a high level, unless you're doing something very wrong, you will start to see results in this area. You start to see sales coming in.
Yeah, I think when we say sales coming in, we're going to be talking about organic search, which is one of the reasons
Yeah,
I get
yeah.
excited about Merch by Amazon versus a Teespring or a Gear Bubble or any of the other print-on-demand sites, is because I'm an Amazon guy. I know about Amazon search and the customers who go to Amazon first and they're only buying the Prime. That's
Hmm.
what when that came out, I was all
Yeah,
in on print on demand. Print on demand been around forever, right?
yeah,
Like it's
yeah.
not new. But I'm
Hmm.
also, I know how Amazon's going to price structure this thing, and they're gonna structure it to the market, right?
Hmm.
It's gonna be low cost. I mean, I bought a one-off shirt. It cost me like $45 a few years ago to make one shirt, and I get it. Like there was a pain for them to set up for just for one.
Yeah, yeah.
Now I can do the same thing for $12, Prime too. Not even like wait on shipping and all this stuff. Uh, but I want to touch on, because you said people underestimate what they can do in a year, but overestimate what they can do in a week. And everybody wants the
Hmm.
quick fix. They want to like, okay, I signed up, I got Mike's book, and here we go. I'm gonna make
Hmm.
all this money in a week. It's like, well, no, I mean possibly, but there are no
Yeah,
guarantees, and people want that guarantee so bad.
yeah.
And I don't know how to get them past it. I can't give you a guarantee that if you make 10 designs and upload them, any's going to sell. I can't
No,
guarantee if
no,
you
yeah,
upload 100 designs,
yeah,
any of them will sell.
yeah,
But I can guarantee, and Chris, you're probably tired of me saying this because I say it all the time now. I can guarantee if you do nothing, you absolutely will make $0 royalty, right? That's
yeah,
the best guarantee I can give you.
yeah.
But if you don't like that guarantee, then you have to try the other one. And
Hmm.
and there's a phrase that people say, like, how do you eat an elephant? Right?
Hmm.
And it's like, well, one bite at a time. And it's a big elephant, right? So I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
but you can eat an elephant in a year, not a week,
yeah,
right? But because it's such a big task, and I'm guilty of this, I'm like, if I have a big task in front of me, I'm like, oh, forget it. Like, I don't
yeah.
even want to start sometimes because I know it's a big task. Like I fight this myself mentally, right? So I want you guys to understand that even people who you guys might look up to, like, we're not all perfect. We suffer from the same things that you guys go through when you see a big task. You're like, how am I going to learn Photoshop? Well, the
Hmm.
same way you eat an elephant, one bite at a time. You watch
Yeah.
one video at a time, and you learn how to put stroke on the outside of a text so that it looks good on white. You learn how to crop out the background. You learn how to like gradients and all this stuff. I'm not a Photoshop expert, but I know how to use YouTube and Google,
Hmm.
right? So I can learn Photoshop. There are courses free directly from Adobe, let alone the free YouTube content, let alone the Udemy and the Skillshare content. You can learn Photoshop or Illustrator or mobile apps or typography and calligraphy. If those are the types of shirts you want to make, you guys can learn these things so you
Hmm.
can make. Because like Michael said, he's making original art, and I'm betting some of you guys said, "Oh, brother, I can't make original art. I'm a 45-year-old lady. Like I can't." Like so, anybody out there can learn anything. And if you want to make shirts with original art, learn how to make original art, right? Get the equipment that you need, whether it's a Cintiq tablet or an iPad Pro with a pencil, whatever it is. I've been meaning to make a post about this, and Mike, feel free to piggyback on this as a blog post. But I want
Yeah,
people
yeah.
to start investing in themselves. This
Hmm.
is the best business, to invest in yourself. Take a course for $20. Buy $1,000 iPad. There are worse things you can do than buy $1,000 iPad Pro for
Hmm.
Merch by Amazon. Because for one, it's an iPad Pro, right? If it's not working out in 6 months, sell it for $800, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's just so crazy to me how big this opportunity is for such little effort to put into it. The effort is in yourself. It's not in money that you have to buy equipment. You don't have to buy like the big circle t-shirt press screen printing stuff that people used to have to do. No, we get Amazon's $500,000 printers to use them for free.
Yeah.
So yes, buy a course and sit down and learn. Stop watching TV, put the kids to bed, and learn Photoshop, learn Illustrator.
Yeah.
Like practice with the Over app, and post your
Yeah.
designs and keep track. Be like, here's my first one, because I guarantee it's going to be your worst one. By the time
Yeah.
you do 45 different Over designs, you're going to get pretty good at it. So put in the work to make 45, and learn this stuff, because there's nothing that I do or that Michael does, that any of the other big merchers do, that is inherently proprietary, other
Hmm.
than like yes, you have personal talent, but you can develop your own talent and skills online, mostly for free, on your own time. You don't have to quit your job. It's such a good deal.
Yeah.
But
Let me
you got to change
just
that
Chris,
mindset.
on you 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 made me think of something there. I was just thinking about when I started 3 years ago. So it's more than 3 years ago now. But I remember I got my first email from Redbubble that said, "You have sold a shirt." So this was before Amazon launched, so I was working a job. I was working as a web designer, just on a, small wage, doing the 9 to 5, and just wanted an additional income. I just wanted something that would just kind of give us a bit of extra cash. And I didn't have any plans for a business or anything like that. I just thought, how can I make some extra cash? I used to make a little bit from AdSense. I had a few websites and stuff. And that kind of dried up when Google did a lot of its, updates and stuff like that. So I looked at Redbubble. I've came across Redbubble and T Fury and a few of these other t-shirt websites. And I just thought, let me just try something. I had a few ideas in my head and I could produce a design. I actually taught myself Illustrator because I could use Photoshop, but I couldn't use Illustrator. And I wanted to learn how to do vector graphics. So I taught myself that over the course of a few weeks. And I produced a couple of designs, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 at the most, and put them on Redbubble. And it wasn't more than a month. So it was within like a couple of weeks, I would say. And I got an email that said, you have sold a t-shirt on Redbubble. You have made $3.13 or something like that. But I remember that, I remember that moment. I remember thinking, right, that is it. I've had some validation. I can do it. If you've sold one, you've you've had the validation. All you now need to do is do more of what you've just done. Just increase the volume, increase the levels. So once that principle was, once I'd tasted that, once I knew it was real and I could make money that way, then it gave me the impetus to keep on going. So I would say to people who are kind of, hanging around the edge of the river, not wading in yet, do something, produce something and put it out there, because you'd be surprised the difference in mindset you'll have when something sells and when you get a little bit of royalty income for the first time, because it can really push you on to the next thing. So, if you're, I agree with you. This is not a quick win. This is not an easy money maker for people who are not prepared to do any work. It's not some, click this button, click that button, buy this software, run the software and win. You've got to have some skin in the game, because more than ever, this is for people who have got ideas, and those are the people who are going to win. The people who've got the good ideas, who can spot ideas, and who can create the right kind of designs for the right kind of opportunities. Those are the ones who are going to win. And if you're just following the crowd, or if you're just trying to, I just want to make some money, then that's not the way to make it work. But if you're willing to put the effort in, and like you say, learn something, take some time. I mean, I just immersed myself really in the world of t-shirts online. I just, every day I would look at Redbubble and TeePublic and T Fury and all the, Shirt Punch and Woot and all the different, websites, and just kind of get an idea what's selling, what are the trends, what goes down really well, what are the jokes, what are the kind of ongoing jokes that keep repeating, what, those kind of things. And if you do that, if you kind of immerse yourself in it, then you just have, your brain is just kind of almost working behind the scenes to keep you kind of alert. And you'll just have ideas. Some of the best ideas I've had were just woke up in the morning and just bam, just right there. Hadn't thought about it, hadn't seen anything, just an idea pops in my head. I just make a note of it and then create a design, and like, wow, okay, that blew up. And it was just a design that my subconscious, came up with. So, I think it's once you do that, once you have a design that your subconscious came up with, that you haven't seen anywhere else, that no one else has made, that's an original design, once you see that can sell and someone else is willing to put, to buy it, to put their hand in their pocket and pay you money for that design, that gives you the energy and the impetus to keep on going with it. So especially for designers, artists who produce original work, I want to say to those guys, because that was me 3 years ago, you can do it. You can, there's people out there who are looking for the stuff that's in your head, and they'd like it. It's not everyone, but there's enough people out there who'd like what you do, to make it work and to make a living from it. And so don't write it off, and don't think, oh, this is just for people who want to sit behind spreadsheets and, track whatever, what sold the most on merch this week. How can I rip off some other design and that kind of thing? That's, that's not, you don't have to do that. You don't need to do that. You can produce original stuff and make it work. and use print on demand to grow your empire this way. So sorry, that was a bit of a long rant, but
No, I'm usually the one that goes long, so don't worry. But I like what you said. There's kind of two things that you're kind of bringing together, because you are talking about immersing yourself in the print-on-demand world and looking at other sites like Wood and Cafe Press and Zazzle and Teespring, all these sites. Understand what's out there, but then kind of combine that with like your own original content. And there is like it's not a binary kind of thing. There's a definite spectrum in here where it makes a lot of sense, at least to me, to say, well, you know what? I see a lot of yoga and coffee and wine and chocolate and cats and dogs. Like these are everywhere. And I'm not trying to act like a genius here, but maybe there's a market for that stuff, right? Like that's how easy it is. And it doesn't mean you have to be like you can't say all the good yoga shirts have ever been made, right? Like maybe not. Maybe you go to a yoga class and your class has like a little like kind of insider saying where like you look at each other and be like, yoga in the morning, and everybody, like, whatever it might be. And then it might be like, you know what, that might catch on just because it started in your little yoga class in your little town. Might not. It might say, hey, you know what, maybe other people are doing this, or maybe they want our shirts, or maybe we buy the shirts and we share them. People are like, oh, because now you can like tag yoga and you can find other people that are into yoga and all these things. So I do recommend
never underestimate, the randomness of people and the the really, really crazy stuff that you think no one would ever search for this. No one would. I had one. What was it? It was I actually recreated a design from. It's like a band I won't say the band because you'll be able to find the design and stuff. But a band I really liked, on the inside cover of one of the CDs, one of the lead singers wearing this particular T-shirt, and I couldn't find the T-shirt anywhere. It was like some kind of local band T-shirt or something, and so I recreated it. I recreated this design. It's from it's like 10 years ago. This, obviously there's no way you can get this T-shirt or anything. So I recreated it, and I just thought, there's no way anyone's going to find this. This is a really small band. No one even knows who they are. And I sold one like within a few months. I was like, that's crazy. And I mean, it's not a big seller by any means, but I just use that as an example of it's crazy what people will buy. You could think of just the craziest phrase or just something that is between you and a friend that you think nobody else ever thought about or ever imagined. People find it and people buy it. That's the power of the internet, and especially the power of search and a platform like Amazon. There is a big pool of people that are swimming around in that you can reach. And don't think, oh, this is only going to work if I go for the massive, overcrowded markets. You can go very niche and very small. And then all you need to do is just duplicate and recreate and do more and more and more of those really small niches. And pretty soon you've got a nice little inventory of designs there that are continuing to produce for you month after month. So it's possible to do that with very stuff you think you would write off and think no one's ever going to buy that. Because of the internet, it can work.
And it's free to try. That's the thing. Like however long it took you to put into making this design, and if it didn't sell, like you're accepting that at the beginning. Okay, I put 25 minutes into this design, and it may be what some people would call wasted, right? You just wasted 25 minutes because it's never going to sell. It was like, well, yeah, but it might, right? So when people are just putting in their time, and 25 minutes for a good designer, you can get a lot done. If you want to make like a short text-based design, I mean, you guys should be able to start making those in like under a minute, okay? Like it's not that hard. Get the template, put the text in, save it, and upload it, and you're good to go. So put in a minute to something that might turn around and earn you some royalties versus it didn't. And it's not that is done. It's like, okay, clearly nobody is into this shirt, whether it's the design, whether it's the content, whether it's the keywords, whatever it is. That's feedback to say, okay, I'm going to take that and I'm going to use that as I make my next design to make it better and better and better. And I've made this one shirt, Chris. I don't know. I think I sent it to you guys just a while back, so I don't know if you're going to remember it. All it said was so much swag in like 3 neon colors, as big as you could go on the merch format on the template, in big fat letters. I mean, there's like hardly any like blank space, and that's all it said. It was so much swag, and I posted it. Said, I think anybody's going to buy this. And everybody said, no, that's stupid. I sold one, and I don't know how someone found it, and I don't even know where the saying came from. It was one of those subconscious things, and maybe it's like on the radio or something. Like so much swag. And that's it. I should actually, I'll post it in the Facebook group later today, and it's sold. And I'm like,
That's it.
really?
Like,
Someone bought that? I
yeah,
didn't
you've
even buy
got
it.
something there that will continue. You know, okay, maybe it won't be a big seller, but it's still there. And of course, as we know with merch now, if it sells, then it stays. So, you know, someone could find it 5 years from now, and you could still make, you know, something from it. So, I think there's a distinction I just make as well, Chris, is between, like you were saying, okay, you made something and it doesn't sell. Now, that's one way of looking at it. Is definitely, you know, you've made something and it didn't sell, and okay, you know, whatever. But remember that we're talking really specifically about it didn't sell on the Merch by Amazon platform through an organic search within a certain amount of time. Like that's really what we're saying. That doesn't mean that that design is now wasted and useless. You know, you've got other websites, you've got you know, Redbubble, TeePublic, all these other platforms, and you've got and that's just organic. Now you could go non-organic, you could go the other way and go down the paid marketing route, and maybe you could sell a ton of these things if you got your marketing right with Facebook ads or something like that, or through your own brand or whatever. So there's not real. I like to think of it as every time I sit down to create a design, or even to outsource a design, which is more what I'm doing now. Everything I create is an asset that can be deployed more than one place. You know, I'm not just producing something that if it doesn't work on merch, then forget it. You know, it might not work on merch, but it might work on Redbubble. It might not work on Redbubble, but it might work on TeePublic. It might not work on TeePublic, but I'm going to grow an Instagram following of a few thousand people, and then I'm going to sell it there. And there's, you know, everything I create is with that in mind. Like, how can I deploy this to get maximum benefit from it? You know, not just one specific website. And that's why, you know, people talk about trends and then, you know, evergreen and that kind of thing. You know, evergreen and trend. Yeah, I've got things that were trending 2 years ago that are specific, that even have like the year on them and stuff like that, like really specific stuff that are selling this week. And I can't understand it. I don't know why. It seems like trends, you know, sometimes things that hit, you know, whatever pop culture 2 years ago, it takes them like 3 years before they hit, you know, these other people who find it funny. Or maybe it rolls back around and it's, you know, ironic to wear this t-shirt that was funny 3 years ago or something. But, you know, everything is kind
But
of.
who cares, right?
Exactly. Who cares? So it's all, you know, how can you create an asset that keeps working for you? And yeah, don't write stuff off because I think maybe a lot of people are thinking, oh, you know, I created this design and it didn't work on merch and it didn't sell, and I don't want to re-upload it again, and I'm just, oh, forget it, you know. But that's completely crazy and completely the wrong way to think about it. When you can deploy that design across multiple other websites, you could create variations of it. You can, you know, you can market it and do all kinds of different things with it. So don't think of it in terms of, you know, input, output. It's like input and then all these different outputs. It could go on any website. It could go anywhere. It could be reused in many different ways. And I have a few things I'll talk about maybe a bit later on that kind of thought. So, yeah, don't let me forget about that. We'll come back to that.
I definitely. You know, a lot of this makes me think of The Long Tail, which is a book I recommend everybody read. Amazon certainly understands The Long Tail, and what it is if you take a graph of, like, you know, the products that sell and how frequently they sell, the best sellers sell a ton, and everything
Yeah,
else sells infrequently. And you know, in a store like a Best Buy, they're only going to carry so many products because they have a physical limitation of space in their store. They're not going to carry some CD that sells once every 3 years. Like, it doesn't make any sense. That
yeah,
customer is not coming in the door of the
yeah,
Attleboro, Massachusetts Best Buy. It makes no sense for them to carry it.
yeah,
But Amazon will carry it. They don't care. It sits on a shelf. And even then, that's still physical product. So we're like close to, like, how much does it cost to put one CD in a 2 million square foot warehouse, right? Like close to zero, but it's not zero. But it's even closer to zero to offer a print on demand t-shirt, not just on merch, but on any of these sites that are print on demand, meaning they don't exist. So it makes sense to put up that shirt that references 1986, which you think no one would ever print that and store it as inventory, but
yeah,
they're more than happy to store an image on a computer and serve it up if someone says, yeah, I want that. Like, really? You sure? Yeah, I want, okay, I'll print it for you.
yeah,
And
yeah,
print it, and out it goes. And there's more money in the tail than in the best sellers.
yeah, yeah.
But
Well,
everybody
yeah,
wants
I
to be
mean,
bestsellers. Everybody wants to be the next deplorables, right?
yeah.
Instead of like yeah, that'd be nice. Make 50 grand a day, right? But then like it tails off, and like no one's
Yeah.
buying that shirt. Well, maybe not. Maybe someone's buying that shirt today. By all means, leave your shirts up if they've already sold. But there's money in the tail, right?
Yeah,
So
and you need to have a plan to make that money from the tail, because I can tell you, trend. I've had my fair share of trends, and I've hopped on a lot of them, but there's nothing like the reliability of that income every month, um, that comes from your. I don't want to say evergreen because that kind of implies that um, all my designs are like birthday shirts or like, really standard stuff. Uh, Evergreen simply means that it's going to sell, it's not tied to a specific trend or a specific event, and it can sell any month of the year. And we just got through saying that almost anything can sell any month of the year. So, but what I mean is that, there's there's trends that have hit, and I've woken up to absolutely, hundreds of emails. You've sold, you've sold, you've sold. And I've had things like, massive political things, and things that have been featured in, you know, Daily Mail and stuff like that, that have led to massive spikes in sales. But I'd rather have the steady, slow growth of a, growing inventory of designs that just keeps producing more and more every month. To me, I'd take that over, a massive spike any day, because it just means you're growing, a sustainable, steady business. And that's what I got in this. That's why I'm kind of, that's why I do what I do. I don't want to chase trends forever, even though, it's fun and it's nice to do that. I'd rather have the steady, here's what we did last month. Now we're doing an extra grand this month, and now we're doing an extra 2 grand this month, and we can see that steady line, going up throughout. So that, that's what's possible. So I think, yeah, people need to maybe think about the plan to grow that, and it's very simple. It's the plan you've outlined. You need to sell so many a day, so many a week. How are you going to do that? And the answer is probably that you're going to have to keep producing new designs all the time, because there's going to be a bit of a fall off, and there's going to be designs that don't sell. So you need to be producing. And then once you keep that, keep the ball rolling in that direction, you start to see that steady growth. So don't think, I think trends are like a useful tool, but they're not like a good thing to focus all your time on, if that makes sense.
you want to have kind of like a blend or a balance, and there's
Yeah.
so many parallels. Chris, you're probably like, dude, this is like FBA and Amazon, right? Like fourth quarter with retail arbitrage and over retail flipping and all that stuff. Yeah, like that's great. Like you'd be crazy not to get in on that. But it's not something that's sustainable all year long. It's not like after you sell your stuff, you're like, okay, I don't have any inventory anymore. It's not replenishable. So people start to balance their retail or online arbitrage business with wholesale and private label business. So, they have like their bread and butter. They have like their consistent income coming in. And then as opportunities present themselves, they jump and add them in. So you got your designs, your quality products. Then you add in, oh, there's this trend. I can't, like, don't say, oh, Mike said like don't do trends and do this. No, we're telling you to do what makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So be able to spot trends, and on the right ones, hop in on them, right? Like if
Yeah.
it makes sense to get in and make a few grand, go for it, because
Yeah.
the
And I think
risk
there's
reward.
different. Absolutely. And there's different times and seasons for different things. Like last year, I was 100% all in on trends. I was waking up every day, and my job was find the next trend, hop on the next trend, exploit it. And I wasn't thinking about, how do I create as many designs as I can? I was more thinking, how can I create the viral thing that's going to do that this week? That was almost my thinking, was like every day, let's find what's trending. Let's find today's current story and that kind of thing. But now I've got a bigger inventory of designs. I don't need to chase trends like that so much. And I can think in a more kind of, higher volume. I can outsource designs now where I couldn't really last year, couldn't really afford to. But now I can. So now I can outsource designs, and I can think on bigger volume rather than just very specific trends and that kind of thing. So, if you're starting out and you're in the early days, maybe it does make sense to chase trends for a while, because you're looking to get that income in the first place. And then when you've got some cash in the bank, you can, you can start outsourcing, or you can start increasing your volume that way. So there are different levels, we're all at different levels, and we've all got different goals for it. I'm sure some people are thinking, I just want to make a couple of extra, $100 a month or something from merch, which is fine. You can do that. And then there's others of us who are like, this is going to be my job. This is going to be my full-time income. And, it works for all sorts. We can there's enough pie for everyone. But not everyone needs to follow the same rules, if that makes sense. There's different tactics for the different stages that you're at with print on demand.
Yeah, definitely. All right, we're at 12:42. Well, 5:42 where you are. I think I got kind of two topics that I've been watching the questions, guys. So don't think we're ignoring your questions. I'm watching them come through, and there's a couple themes going through there. One about ads, and then one about keywords and the importance of these. So, Michael, if you could, spend a few minutes touching on if you've ran any ads, whether they be, Amazon AMS type ads or Facebook ads, as well as like maybe a keyword strategy, like give the people some keyword advice, because there is a lot to it. There is more than just throwing your image up and crossing your fingers that Amazon's going to give you traffic. So there's the good way and bad way to do keywords. And then, at the end, I've got, one tip that I want to make sure everybody gets to hear as well. And we'll do some questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let me deal with keywords first, because in many ways, keywords is like, I know it's like the one question that gets asked an awful lot and people seem so confused about. I think people have this idea maybe in their heads that there's some secret source to keywords, that if you put a secret word or if you type things in a secret way, that Amazon's going to blast you to the top or something. And there is no magic in keywords at all, and especially with merch, because we all know there's only a few spaces you can do anything with keywords. You have a brand, you have a title, you have 2 description bullet points, and then you have the main description. And those are the only places where you can put any words at all. So, there's no secret back end, where you can put in clever keywords or anything like that. So we're all working with the same limitations, if that makes sense. And so I think, to be honest, I think the keyword problem, as it were, or the keyword, struggle starts before the keywords. And it starts with the very idea that you're creating and the design, if that makes sense. So, for a lot of people, I see they create a design, and that's the first step, and then they start to think about the keywords after. And there's very little thought gone into who's this design for, who am I targeting, how are they going to search for it, what terms and phrases do they use, and that kind of thing. And this is where it goes back to, Chris, what you were saying before about, for the yoga example, where there's specific phrases or words that people might be using that others don't know about. That's where, if you're a yoga nut or something, things that other people don't, and you can create a design that other people, won't know about. So the competition's going to be low. And so the keyword game is almost, obvious. What words am I going to use to describe this design? Well, the design is, I don't know what you said, Chris. You said some kind of crazy yoga phrase or something.
Yoga in the AM, like
yoga in the AM, and da 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 da. So that's going to be your title, and then it's going to be something like, funny yoga shirt, perhaps, because what you're going after is simply that first bit of the phrase is yoga in the AM. I'm looking to sell this design to people who are going to search for the phrase yoga in the AM. And if there's nobody else with a shirt with that design on, and I'm the only one, then obviously I'm going to pick up sales. And if you can just, go backwards and start there. So instead of thinking, how can I use clever keywords that are going to make me stand out in this overcrowded niche, instead go, how can I create designs that I don't have to stand out in, that are lower competition, and that I already know inherently what the words and what the phrases should be, that are going to produce sales, because that's going to be so much easier than trying to tag keywords on. Because I can tell you right now, there's so much competition in this space now for the big, the busy markets, that if you're not in early, and if you're not, doing stuff that nobody else is doing, then, there isn't any point doing that. I do not enter busy, designs and busy markets in merch. I don't go after, if something's blowing up, I run the opposite direction. I do not want anything to do with that, because that is wasting my time. If we're talking about an organic marketplace. And this is, this is the problem. This is a problem that's happened with almost every, website and everything. Google's had this problem. YouTube has the same problem, and they're all struggling with it. Is how do you put the quality at the top when there's 100,000 people who all have something, to say? If there's 100,000 deplorable designs, how does Amazon decide which one goes at the top? And how on earth are they going to distinguish between the 99,000th and the 901,000th or whatever? It's impossible. And this is why we're seeing a move towards sponsored and adverts and that kind of thing, because that's the only way to actually differentiate between who's got the better design. If you're willing to pay $1 to put your design in front of someone else, and the other person is only willing to pay 99 cents to put it in front of someone else, then your design must be better because you know that it sells more and produces more profit and you can stay in business longer than the other person. So I'm going a bit far ahead there, but my point is, if you can't, you can't compete at that level, and there's no reason for Amazon to put you, at the top of a very busy marketplace. So why even bother? Just get your focus in your head around finding opportunities that are low competition. And I know it's getting busier. Obviously, this marketplace is getting a lot busier, but it's still, there are opportunities out there. I know because I stumble across them, every week with new designs that no one else has created. And it's possible to do that. So I would say keywords, don't think about tagging keywords on at the end of the process. Think about them at the start of the process. So, for example, my process for t-shirts goes something like this. I come up with a list of ideas on a weekly basis, and then I send those ideas to my designers. And what I've started to do recently is I'm actually writing the listing data, so the title, the description, that stuff. I'm writing that before I even outsource the design to my designer. So it's at the forefront of my head, that question: how am I going to get this idea in front of the people who are going to buy it before I've even created the design? So I know what I want the design to look like, but more important than that is who's going to see it, who's going to find it, how are they going to find it, what words are they going to use? And if you think about that before you ever put pen to paper, as it were, then you're going to have a lot, you're going to see more success, I think, down the line. So I don't know if that's helpful. Keywords are just one of those things that I think people really obsess over, and they think way too long about. And they should be thinking a lot more about, how do I find opportunities? Am I playing in the right areas, or should I be looking, somewhere else? That kind of thing.
Yeah, I think people, they want the secrets, like everything else. Where if I just put in the keywords, my stuff's going to sell. Well, no, it's not that easy. You still have to have a design that's going to convert. Once you get somebody to search and find your product, if your product is crap, keywords ain't going to save you.
Yeah.
Right. It's actually be a detriment to you in the long run, because people are going to find your stuff and not buy it. That's going to hurt your search rankings. But I want to remind everybody how early we are with Merch by Amazon. There is currently no like back-end Seller Central type interface where you can add search terms and keywords behind the scenes that aren't showing up on the listing page like you can do for other products on Amazon. I expect to see that eventually. I have no idea on the timeline on that, but Amazon wants that. They want us to be able to say these shirts are for this type of market, so that their algorithm can bring the right products to the top. I like what you say. Like how are you going to differentiate between so many different listings? And that's Amazon's job. I want people to think and realize, when you search for something on Amazon, this isn't like a straight Excel file where it's got this keyword and that's going to come to the top. So you could game the system. Be like, hey, I'm the only one that has these keywords, so I'm going to be the only search result. Well, yeah, but it's not always that easy. Amazon's algorithm is designed to bring that customer, to bring to the top of the search results the item that Amazon believes is the best match for that customer. The computer's trying to say, what is this customer looking for? What do they want? So that they can give them the best match for what they want. And they take views and non-purchases into account to be like, okay, a lot of people search for this, and we kept serving up this, and no one bought it. the computer's going to learn that that's not what they're looking for. And that's good for the people who make good designs with good descriptions and good titles and good keywords. Because then when Amazon serves that up, the customer buys it. The customer's happy, Amazon's happy. That's what the search algorithm is all about.
Yeah.
So make stuff that is going to come up and convert, not just get viewed, right? Convert.
Yeah, yeah. Because if you think about, there's a whole process that goes on. Someone has to go to Amazon and push the buttons that say, yoga t-shirt. And that's just step one, and then you've got to get your design in front of those people. And then you've got to have them like your design more than the other designs and buy your design. And of course, if you get all those steps right, and you need to get everyone right to make a sale, if you get them all right, you make a sale. And then your design, obviously, Amazon knows, okay, this one just sold. That already puts you above 90% of the other designs that are not selling. And then, now you're in the top, maybe you're on the second page or something like that. And yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Chris. Quality wins out in the long run. But you've got to have, but
you got to play the whole game.
You got to play the whole game. And you don't want to be, it's like with deplorables. If you were, creating a deplorables design now, obviously, the trend has passed. And even if you created, if such a thing were possible, the best deplorables t-shirt design in the world, the one that, was magic, was just the perfect design, it's too late. The game's over. Even if you started selling them now, even if they did sell, there's no way that design is going all the way to the top of Amazon and going to get you regular sales. So yeah, it's a whole process, and every part of the chain has got to make sense. And if you're thinking, you've got to think like the customer. You've got to put yourself in the head of the customer, and you've got to be aware of what the customer's thinking about and what they're doing and what the phrases they're using and the frame of mind they're in. And that's why I advise people, and I know you do, Chris, is to think about areas they know something about. Think about the niches and the communities that you're already a part of, because you're already 5 steps ahead in those, because you know the phrases, you know the things, you know the colors, you know the fonts, you know everything that's going to appeal to that kind of person. Even if you can't express it, you know it, kind of inherently. So yeah, definitely focus on things that you know something about first, and then let the keywords and everything else support that, rather than the other way around.
Well, I think that goes right into talking about ads, because a lot of people they want to send traffic, they want to basically buy eyeballs on their Merch by Amazon listings, but you still have to have a product that converts, and it goes back to making something with quality. I've seen a lot of people talk about Facebook ads. There's really 2 ad platforms that I think people are experimenting with. And when you say Facebook ads, you can also go down the road of Instagram, Twitter, and do anything else that you want. But Facebook ads in general, it's very easy to do. You can target people based on their age, their gender, their location, all these things, and their interests. So if you have cat shirts or dog shirts and you want to get them in front of these people, you can. But I've not heard of a lot of people having great success with it. And I think part of the reason is there's no context. So all of a sudden in their feed, they see an ad from somebody or some page. They have no idea who it is, trying to sell a shirt. And we're getting pretty immune to marketing, where we can scroll right past that really, really fast, compared to, having a shirt or having a Facebook page about funny dog pictures, and not just dogs, maybe like all the way down to Chihuahuas. And this page is all about funny Chihuahua pictures and memes and videos. And you use those to target, to build a little bit of context with somebody. And there's people who say 7 times or 20 times, whatever number you want to do. Say, okay, this person has viewed my content 7 times. They've liked some of my things. They've commented. They followed my page. They give me a like. And then you target them with a Merch by Amazon listing or a print-on-demand product from any other site. Much more likely. That's a much more in-depth and also more expensive campaign to try to get your product in front of your target customers. Because I think a lot of people are seeing views or clicks to Amazon, but they're not buying. And once you get to Amazon, you really have no way to track
Mhm.
It's difficult to retarget people,
Yeah.
depending on how you send the traffic. But there's two things if you want to send ads, and you have to send the right traffic because you can say, I got 800 clicks. Yeah, well, so what? Who are you targeting? Dog owners. Well, what's your shirt? Chihuahuas. Well, just because they're into dogs doesn't mean they're into Chihuahuas.
Mm.
All right. So you were sending the wrong traffic, or you had animal lovers and you had a dog shirt, but like people were clicking through that like cats. Like you thought you had it right, but you're actually sending the wrong traffic. That's one. Two, your product doesn't convert because your product just isn't good, right? It's overpriced, or it's got a typo in the words on the shirt that you missed. Whatever it might be, you have to have a converting product and send the right traffic. And I'll add like a little more half into that. That traffic has to be warmed up in the mood to buy. They have to
Yeah.
know, like, and trust you, or just they're in a buying mindset, like a lot of the Pinterest traffic. They're going there looking to buy something versus someone just scrolling through a news feed and like, you know what, I'm going to spend $20 on a T-shirt. Well, maybe not. There's probably a lot more people who are just sitting there for the passive, passing time while they're watching their kid's soccer game or something.
Mhm.
Uh, that's how you look at ads. I'd much rather people spend time with Amazon marketing services, AMS, website
Mhm.
ams.amazon.com. I think there's a lot more exciting opportunities there to
Yeah.
retarget based on keyword searches as well as on ASINs. So you can retarget your merch listings against specific ASINs
Mhm.
that you believe people are already searching for to get your merch listing over there. AMS is way too big to talk about on
Yeah.
this.
I mean, I'll just say, I mean, I haven't used it because I've had trouble trying to get an account set up because I'm in the UK and stuff like that. But also, it's just not been on my kind of radar right now because the organic is working for me, and I've been trying to, and I have been having some success with Instagram advertising. Um, I say Instagram advertising. What I actually mean is using sponsored posts with influencers on Instagram. So reaching out to individuals and saying, are you interested in doing some advertising? And working out a price with them, and then doing like a series of posts over the course of a week. And really, what I'm trying to do there is drive the traffic back to my own brand Instagram page and grow the followers there. And then from that place, then posting t-shirts and selling them and directing them instead to my Shopify store and keeping all that, customer data and everything in house. Um, I am kind of changing my mind a bit on that kind of plan simply because I've started to realize that really my advantage and my skill set is in ideas and in creating designs. And I don't know whether really it's right for me to be a brand as such, or whether I'd be better off simply saying, I'm a designer, I'm a creator, and here's my designs. Here's where you can buy them this week. And maybe one week I'll be selling them on T Fury because there'll be, a particular campaign there. Or maybe next week I'll direct them to Amazon and do them through merch. Um, but that's kind of the way I'm heading and thinking about things. Is I have this Shopify store and it's making money and it's doing okay. But I'm actually thinking that actually maybe I should just focus my energies more on building up that Instagram account, building up that following, and rather than worrying about all the back end stuff of integrating with a affiliate, not affiliate, with a print on demand partner, fulfillment partner, and all that kind of stuff. Instead, maybe just kind of focusing on building that connection between me and followers and customers, and being more kind of upfront and honest with them and saying, hey, I'm not actually a brand. I'm just a designer and I can create the funniest, the best designs, the kind of stuff that you like. And here's where you can buy them this week, special offer here on this website or whatever. But that's just me personally. But yeah, going back to AMS, I do think that's the next step. It's not going to be long before I think the organic side is going to be like really, really difficult to crack into. And if you don't have the ability to advertise and to at least put a little bit of money, because I think you'll be able to do it with very, very small amounts of money. But I think if you can't do that, then, maybe this time next year, there's going to be, so fewer places to make it work organically, especially at scale. And you would be wise to start preparing for that now and looking into Amazon's advertising platforms and stuff, because it's going to be, it's going to be the way that we have to do things pretty soon. We're going to have to pay to get our designs in front of people. especially in the competitive spaces. So yeah, I agree. That's certainly something people should be checking out.
Well, I think people should be more than willing to pay if you believe you
Mm.
have a good design, and Facebook, or any other type of platform is going to basically sell you views, sell you an audience, sell you eyeballs. Then you look at, okay, on this $20 shirt, I'm gonna make $7.19. How much am I willing to spend to try to get that customer? And a lot of times, it's whoever's willing to spend the most money is going to get the customer. So if it costs you $1 per shirt, you're like, man, I can't do like $1 per, dude, you're making $6.19 instead of $7.19, right? So like, I think people can reverse engineer this, but I'm worried that what you said, Michael, is going to like distract people because it is the curse, not just the curse of merch and print on demand, but of Amazon and just entrepreneurship and home-based businesses in general these days. There are so many options. So you can say, you know what, I really like this design thing, or you know what, I'm having good success advertising here. Let me take a look at Instagram and Twitter and learn the ins and outs of that. And it's all an opportunity cost. Okay, now I'm doing so much on the advertising side. I haven't been designing as much. And then all of a sudden your brain just goes crazy. And you're like, what should I be doing? And that's where people need to know themselves, know where they are, know where they want to go, and
Yeah.
know how to get there, and then focus. And then
Yeah.
don't say, but I saw Chris Green talking about Instagram ads. Yeah, that's cool. But Lute, stay in your lane and focus. And when you're ready to learn a new ad platform, then step out and learn that new ad platform and say, you know what? I want to outsource all my ads. I don't like doing this. I'd rather just design. Good. Like, don't try to be me. Don't try to be Michael Essek. Like, everybody who's listening, be you. Understand all this stuff, then go all in on what you're not only good at, but also enjoy, because then you're going to be able to make money and also be happy instead of like, oh, I make more money, but I'm miserable. Yeah, well, like, what's the point of making all this money if you're miserable all the time?
So true. And, that's why I've not really played with AMS, and I've not done, I've dabbled with Facebook ads, but I've not done consistently, stuck at it. But I have, I dedicated myself with the Instagram thing and the Shopify thing to make that work for the first part of this year. And I just focused, and I knew that, the AMS thing is coming up and Amazon ads and all this stuff. But I just said, you know what, I'm just focusing right now on this plan. And that plan is grow an Instagram following and get those sales up and get customers and get email addresses and do that, And that's just what I've been focused on. And it's worked because I've just been able to focus on that one task. And if I was trying to do Facebook ads at the same time and Amazon ads at the same time and all this stuff, and Pinterest and Twitter and everything else, just focus on one platform and get things right, get things working there. That's what I would say for people to do. Don't try and do Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter all at the same time. Just pick one and go all in on it, and don't quit until you've got it rolling and get it working, and then go and jump onto the next thing, because there's just your head will just, you can't do this as one person mastering all these different platforms at the same time. You need to be well, maybe some people can, but I can't. I'm very I'm not a multitasker. I can do one thing at a time, and you've just got to stick with the one that works best for you.
That's what people got to do, and that's what we really want to encourage you guys that are listening now, as well as people who are watching on replay. Don't try to do everything; it's just going to drive you crazy. But definitely, like dabble in some other stuff to say, oh, you know what, man, I'm getting some good results over here. But just test when it's the right time. We're coming up, Michael. I appreciate so much time that you're giving here, and everybody that's listening here. I'm assuming you're all members of my Facebook group, and if you purchase Michael's book, then you get to be members of his private, not open to the public Facebook group as well. And that's gonna be a great place to post more questions, to get ideas from other people. Say, look, anybody good at Instagram ads? Because I'm looking to get into that and network and start making those contacts and connections. That's the best way to do it, is just put yourself out there. Like, this is what I'm good at. This is what I'm trying to learn. And then just see what happens. And you can do that in both of our Facebook groups. So, Michael, I want to give you time at the end to give your last best tip for selling more shirts. But before that, I want to kind of piggyback on your Instagram thing, as well as a conference that Chris and I are going to this week. Because they kind of go together. If you want to sell more shirts, kind of the thing that I've been just focused on lately is go where there's already demand. right?
Hmm.
You can just put stuff up that's never been made before and cross your fingers on organic search, and sometimes that's going to work. But if you can go where there's already demand, whether it's your kid's school or some kind of organization in your hometown, or go to an Instagram account where they already have followers, and guess what? That Instagram guy or gal, they want to take pictures and do Instagram. They're not looking at all this t-shirt stuff. So if you can go to them with a win-win, or
Yeah.
just say, look, I'll just pay you to post this stuff. You're going where there's already demand. And if you know what their audience is into because you followed them, I'm assuming everybody's following these people on Instagram and they know what their channel's about before reaching out, then you can make something that you know their audience is going to be interested in. And you're going where there's already demand instead of, well, let's just see if something happens. But somebody's got to pay to play, whether it's an agreement to split royalties, or you're just going to pay straight up for posting, or you're going to start off a fundraiser for your kid's school, or you're going to partner with someone locally and or a restaurant and do something for them. Go where there's already demand. And this conference that we're going to, they did a contest to say, hey, we're going to just offer up a prize of cash for the best design. Now, here's our logo. Here's high-res PNG and PSD files. Make some designs, and we'll pick a winner and just pay the money. It would have been genius if someone had just gone to the conference organizers, made a design, and said, hey, I made this for you guys, if you'd like to use it. And there's going to be a lot of conferences that'll say, that's great. Can you put it up on Amazon? And we'll just send people there. They're not even looking to make money on it. Right. So if you can provide value up front, you're going to find people say, yeah, totally. Like put it up and we'll blast the link out to our 1,200 conference attendees. And all of a sudden you're going to sell 400 shirts. Right. And now you've got that connection where what else is going to happen there? Or they say, yeah, we like it and we want to buy it from you and we want to sell it. But I would bet most of the time, people who organize conferences, they're not looking to also run the t-shirt side of things. They're going to be more than happy to say, wow, this guy, dude, look at this design. It's actually good. Yeah. Yeah, let's send it out. Mm-hmm. There's already demand and you're going there and bringing something to that demand. So I would tell everybody listening, just think about that. Where is there demand for t-shirts in your community? Is it the softball teams? Is it the restaurants? Like where, and how can you plug yourself in to bring them some kind of value to where now, hey, you're not making as much royalty because you're splitting it, but half of something is better than like all of nothing, right? Like an old Shark Tank, right? Or Dragon's Den for the Michaels, right?
Exactly.
All right, you get the last word. Your last tip for people to sell more shirts.
Wow. Okay. One thing I would say, one of my favorite places to find ideas and stuff is Reddit. And I know I've written about it in my book. I read about it on my blog and stuff. It's still up there for me, and I really recommend people, if they're not already familiar with Reddit, that they spend some time getting immersed in that kind of website and communities in there, because it's such a goldmine of ideas. And even just, I can't tell you how many ideas I've had from Reddit, even just Reddit comments. Like, here's one tip. If you see like not a design, but like a funny image or something on Reddit, so usually it'll be in the funny subreddit or in pics. Those are like two of the biggest, tend to be visual subreddits. If you just look at those and just read the top comments, almost always you'll find there's like some clever pun or some kind of joke or some little line of text that will almost always, because those are the ones at the top are the ones that people have upvoted, which means they're popular. So those will almost always be like little gold mines of ideas for funny phrases and sayings and that kind of thing. So I would just tell people, just kind of, go and get involved in a subreddit, get familiar with it, and keep an eye on it, because one of the other things Reddit is great for is if a t-shirt or a design goes viral, chances are it's either come from Reddit, like Reddit's the first place where it came from, or it's going to be on Reddit, in the early days of that kind of viral spike, as it were. So this time last year, I must have checked Reddit every day, multiple times a day, to see, is there any t-shirts or designs that are coming up on the main page. Because occasionally you would, at least maybe once or twice a week, there'd be like an image, or it would either be a photo of a t-shirt, or it would be like a close-up of a design or something. And it would be funny stuff, or it would be topical stuff. It would be anti-Trump stuff or anti-Hillary stuff, and that kind of thing would just blow up and go viral. And even just from looking at the comments, you could get ideas upon ideas upon ideas. So, hang around Reddit, and the same kind of principle applies with Twitter. I don't know if people are aware of like TweetDeck, which is a free, platform that Twitter now owns, where you can set up columns within TweetDeck that will kind of scan for certain phrases. So you can set up a column for T-shirt, or for viral T-shirt, or for funny T-shirt, or for funny shirt, and you can tell TweetDeck, hey, just show me tweets that have had over 20 retweets or over 100 likes or something like that. And then you're going to have like a ready-made, little list of ideas coming up throughout the day. And of course, now a lot of them are not going to be things you can use. They're going to be copyrighted or trademarked or something like that. But every now and again, something slips through, and you might just be the one there who catches it before anyone else does. And if it's legitimate, if it's something you can do, if it's not bad language or drugs or something like that, then hop on it and make hay while you can with things like that. Those are just a couple of ways I would look to spot trends and that kind of thing.
That's a great tip, and the chat was really lighting up. They're like, yes, Reddit. And I would caution you touched on it. Reddit is a different animal than like Facebook. Like you got to be able to you got to have a little thick skin, I think, to participate on Reddit. You can certainly read Reddit, but I mean, I don't for getting ideas, you don't need to participate. You can just go and read and look. I've had a little bit of success posting stuff, but very few and far between. But you don't need to. You can go there and just kind of mine for ideas. Just put your gold mining hat on and get immersed there and just go gold spotting. Yeah. So try things. We talked about this earlier, guys. It's free to try. So if you see an idea, maybe you got it from Reddit, try it. Put it up and see what happens. Or take that idea and say, you know what, I'm gonna post it in don't post it in my group. My group's the big group that you don't know who's in there. I don't know who's in there. It's just everybody's in there. Go to Michael's group, post it, and say, guys, what do you think about this? Get some validation, and don't have that paranoia or that fear of, oh, but if I posted it, someone else is going to make it. Well, maybe, but if you didn't post it, you weren't going to make it either, right? Mm-hmm. So at least learn something from it instead of learning nothing from it and like keeping your idea here, like, oh, this might be an idea, but I'm not going to tell you. But whatever, get over it and post something and say, look, I think this is good. Can someone else kind of help me out? I'm looking for some confirmation because I need some confidence. And someone says, yeah, you get a whole bunch of people saying, yes, that's a great idea. You're going to find the community is actually pretty positive out there. They're not looking to steal your ideas. They're going to give you some feedback and move on. Or everybody says, you know what? I think that's a terrible idea. And if everybody says that, be able to discern the difference between hate and negativity and criticism and feedback, because that's a spectrum in there. Just because everybody says something's not good, it's not because they're being mean to you. It might just be because it's not good. And they're actually being nice to you by telling you it's not good. Okay, so it's a tough world out there with Facebook groups and the dynamics of messages versus in person and versus over the phone, and Reddit's a whole other animal, but you guys will figure that out as you try to post on Reddit. But I mean, there were so many questions, guys, and we're not going to be able to get to all of them.
Let me just say, guys, if you want to go into my Facebook group, I know most of you should be members there. I'll stay on there for an hour or so and just kind of answer questions if there's anything related to this. So if you want to head over there, I'll go and hang over there right now, and I'll be on Facebook for an hour or so from now. So I apologize for anyone who's kind of missed updates from me and stuff. I've been moving house the past week. My computer died last night. I've just had like anything that could go wrong has gone wrong these past couple of weeks. So thank you guys for bearing with me, and thank you for joining us on this webinar as well.
It's been great having you.
Before we head out of here, guys, since everybody here is supposed to be able to have access to that Facebook group, can we put a link in the chat? So
yes, let me just pull that up. 2 seconds.
All right, so you guys should be in there. If not, use this link to join. And this is only for people who have bought the book. If you're here, you bought the book. So thanks so much. And we didn't even talk about, Michael, your willingness to help other people. Your blog, your website is one of the top-notch blogs out there. I make it a must-read. Like, if you want to get started, I'm not going to answer questions until you tell me you have read Michael Essek's blog, because that's just going to get them on the right track. Like, it's simple, but it's not. Like, we talked about a lot of stuff, and there were tons of questions that went through that we didn't get a chance to answer, that were about different topics that are all relevant to merch by Amazon and print on demand. So I understand it is a big topic, but at the same time, it is pretty simple. We want you guys to take action and get moving on some of this stuff. And if there are questions that are holding you back, yes, ask those questions, but do not be held back by some question like, what should I price my shirts at? No, like, move forward and get that question answered later if you need to. There are questions that don't need to be answered for you guys to move forward. But for the other questions, we're here to help.
Yeah, I had someone ask me today just, oh, can you give me some tips and tricks and stuff? And I was like, dude, just read my book. I've put like everything that I've done in the past year is in those 2 books. Like every email I sent out, every blog post I've written is compiled in those books. And I know there's quite a lot to read. But I think, honestly, I couldn't give more information than, I mean, I'm going to do a course. I'm going to do some more stuff like that. But for now, that is I think it's a great resource for people. I'm not trying to blow my own horn or anything, but I think if you've not read the information that's in there, and you're asking, questions and stuff, you should really just kind of retrace that stuff, because there's a lot of stuff. I mean, I reread it myself because I'm like, oh, that's a good idea, because it was just kind of it was me recording my thoughts and my steps as I was going through. So there's a lot in there that's useful stuff. So thanks, Chris. Yeah.
Yeah. One last thing, the group, guys, is set to private. So if you are not friends with Michael on Facebook, you're not going to be able to see it, and he won't be able to add you directly. So you're going to have to either message him on Facebook or by email. If you guys aren't connected, the group's not going to show because it's super secret. Like, it's like for real secret.
Super secret. Like, it's totally secret. It's top secret. So yeah, if you send me a message, I'll be on Facebook for the next hour or so. So message me and just give me the email address you used to buy the books, and I will add you straight away. So yeah, there'll be no delay or anything. Just message me your email address. I'll check that you purchased, and I'll let you in the group.
All right, perfect. Michael, thanks so much. Chris, thanks so much for helping host this thing. You guys know where to find all of us. If you have questions, you want more information about Merch by Amazon or anything that we do, we hope we brought you guys some value. Sorry we went over an hour today, guys. I know it's sometimes hard to concentrate for more than an hour and listen, but the replay will be available. It'll be sent out by email, as well as detailed instructions on how to join Michael Essek's private group. If you kind of got confused about what we were talking there, you're going to get that information as well. So thanks, as always, guys. Maybe we'll do it again. But in the meantime, we hope you guys are out there making designs and having some great success with Merch by Amazon and all of the print-on-demand platforms, whether in the USA or in the UK, international. Doesn't matter. It's a huge opportunity. We hope that you guys are having success with it. See you guys.
See you guys.